Closed last night with some good, sensible political talk, and you wake up this morning with a couple of shock jocks. The bad boys of the YouTube page are back.
We back, baby. We back.
So we did the usual. This is the trash talk. It's a staple of trash talk. I try to schedule a time with MHB. Then he tells me when he gets to that time, he tells me 10 minutes, and then I get mad, and then 10 minutes go by, and I tell him 10 minutes, and he's like, fine, I guess. And then we both wait for technical difficulties to sort themselves out. And then that's pretty much why Trash Talk ended, is that neither of us could get a schedule together. But right. Here we are. In the wake of tragedy, we got our shit together, and now we're here. What's up, buddy?
Nothing, man. What's up with you? I'm happy to be back. I've got to say, my night was going really well, and then I had to hear fucking intern Justin in the background trying to figure out how the fuck to turn on this. And your helper, your seeing eye dog, couldn't figure out how to record on Skype. So now we're doing it on, what is this, GarageBand? Or
yeah, basically. What the fuck is this? StreamYard.
StreamYard. This is what I think. This is what you record that my Blind Mike's pity party on that show, right? Mike and
the very highly rated Mike and the Minifans. You son of a bitch.
There are some people that think Mike and the Minifans is been going down in views.
I've heard this. I've heard this. Yeah.
There's a man that I think I don't know. I think he's 2 cells down from Kirk in one of the insane asylums. And wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if Kelleher fucking found Kirk? Oh God.
I don't even want to think about it. That's a guy I don't even really like joking about, because I got to say, you were right and I was wrong about him.
Oh, well, how long did it fucking take you to say, you know what? I accept your apology. I really do.
Thank you.
I do. I'm glad it took you there. What was the turning point for you? Was it the fact that he's a fucking psychotic, fucking insane person? Or
well, it was just every time I would defend him and say, he's a nice enough guy, give him a chance, he means well. Then later that day, I would see, here's why Mike's an asshole. And it's like, look, I'm just done with this guy. You know what I mean? How many times? And then how many times can I see screenshots of people saying he stole his money and all that?
Can I tell you what scares me the most about him? My brother is now full in the KMS world, full on. Like he's dived headfirst into it. You've probably seen him. I've retweeted him a couple times. He's a big politics guy. He works for a Republican think tank. He's part of the problem.
Oh wow!
And he runs a couple of parody accounts, obviously, because we all do. There's probably 10 people running all of the 100 parody accounts. Hashtag to Talib Kweli or whatever the fuck that asshole's name was. And he told me that Kelleher had messaged every single one of them, like asking for favors, asking if he could get back. Even my brother's personal account, Kelleher. He is just a way of seeking out attention and trying to find blind men stumbling into 7-Elevens to get ice cream sandwiches.
Yes, he did. He did find me. Now he knows my hangouts, my eateries, which I don't care. But I don't want to talk about him. I want to talk about you, MHB. I've missed you, buddy.
I missed you too, my friend. It's good to be back. It was nice. I was the OG before all these pussies started retiring. I was the first guy that made it cool. Now, the way that these motherfuckers are retiring now, I wish I never retired. I wish I didn't start this trend. I'm like the guy that invented the fucking selfie stick. Like it is the worst thing that I could have ever done. The fact that you can retire a parody account, like do something important, then fucking retire. But fucking, what is it? Steve's yellow wallpaper or Steve the Rat Fuck? Who's the guy?
Yeah. Team Robinson or something.
Team Robinson, yeah. He's like coked out or something on Twitter.
I don't know about that, but
oh, I know. I know that they're swingers. I know that for sure. Latino Kirk told me that. He told me all about it.
Again, I don't know anything about that. Latino Kirk is a nice family gentleman.
You know what they say? I am the original Latino Kirk. I am a Mexican man myself, and as I would say, you know what they say about those Latinos? They are torrid lovers, is what I would say.
So are you finally taking my advice and in a healthy place now, where you listen to the show, you comment on Twitter once in a while, but you don't get all worked up every time you're mentioned or every time you see something you don't like? It seems like you're doing good now.
Oh yeah, I think I'm in a much better place now, and just in the way that the universe works, it takes somebody else having a psychotic break to bring me back so I can have one myself.
Right.
So it's just normal, just the way it goes. But no, it's good. I'm in a pretty good place. It's weird listening to the show because I found myself. I get when people say like I'm 3 or 4 shows behind. To be honest with you, I'm probably like I'll listen every day, but I'll have to I'll the weekend there'll be like maybe 45 minutes of each episode, or maybe sometimes 20 minutes that I don't get to at the end, but I want to get the new ones. So on the weekend, that's my day where I listen to the last 20 to 30 minutes of every single episode for the week so I can get caught up. It's weird getting it from a listener's perspective. It's a lot. I mean, now I do miss being mentioned on the show, so of course I saw some on Twitter, some assholes on Twitter saying that MHB smells clout, MHB chases clout. Now that Kirk is gone, now I've got to, I poke my head back out. So here I am, people.
What do you think? Steve Robinson said last night to start the Robinson Report that he doesn't like that Minifan bracket because he thinks it's a lot of people. By the way, I hate any term that becomes like a catchphrase that everyone says. So I hate the idea, this phrase clout chasing, just because everyone says it. But what do you think of the Mincel guys? Do you think that's true? Because I do kind of like, especially while there's not a lot going on necessarily. I think it's a nice distraction, that Minifan bracket. I think it's a harmless, fun thing. But they are promoting it a lot and asking for retweets and stuff like that. So I can see where Steve would think that.
First of all, shout out to my boy John from Scranton, original MHB fan. So
yes,
I can't, once I heard the way that I was getting filleted by those guys in that podcast, I didn't actually listen to it. But
he's a fucking legend, the OG Minifan.
Listen, it's not like I listen to the podcast or anything, but my favorite of all of the YouTube shows, the Mincel Intel show, is the best. They blow the Blind Mike ladies out of the water. And
I don't think that's what they're called, but I do like that title.
I mean, I think it's harmless. Didn't we try a bracket before? No, it was the elections. It's very similar to what we did with the elections, which caused all sorts of drama and shit like that for the cabinet positions.
Yeah.
And then remember when they did that little board, the imagination board of every single parody account, where like, who are the enemies, who are the friends, that someone made that whole thing? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
very cool.
If we can keep it fucking fun, I think just everyone needs to not get too worked out. Who gives a shit if Rich_Mandarin beats Rich Mandarin? Like it's supposed to be fun. Like, who really cares at the end of the day? But you get some, and I use that. That might be a bad example because I like both Rich Mandarins. They seem like nice chaps. Mm-hmm. But it's just weird to me that people take it too seriously and get actually like worked up about it.
I know. I mean, it's not like it's not serious enough that you're gonna like dox somebody or contact somebody's employer or anything like that. I mean, it's not. These are just make pretend parody accounts, right? It's not like you can make a career out of it or anything like that. Of course not. No way at all. No, it's not like you my friend have become quite the star since we've last talked.
Oh I'm a big celebrity.
How are you dealing with your fame? You are pretty fucking famous right now.
Well, not well, if you listened to the show earlier in the month. But no, I think I'm doing all right now. I'm kind of handling shit. I've got a 10:30 a.m. call with one Dan Katz. So I'm a mover and shaker in this business, baby. Big things happen.
What do you mean you have a 10:30 call with Dan Katz? What are you on the show tomorrow? What's going on?
No, basically I just I don't know why I've been like teasing it like it's some big thing. Yeah. I reached out to Big Cat and said that I wanted to do, while Kirk is out, maybe some just one-on-ones with, like I said, like Big Cat and Kevin would be good because the Minifans like them and everything. But I also asked if he would help me get people from Barstool that might be interesting to us that Minifans wouldn't necessarily know.
Like who? Who specifically? Comedians?
No. Not, I'm saying Barstool people.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't even know that I would know. Like, I don't know anything about a lot of those guys. Like, I don't know shit about like Ken Jack or any of them. Like, so that's why I thought Big Cat could help, because he's an idea guy. He sees, he's got a vision. He could see what would fit in the Minahan world. I feel like.
And God knows you need vision.
You're damn right.
Did you see Andy Mayo tweeting at you today? Like the neediest. Listen, I love.
You don't like him?
Mayo and I we've had a love-hate thing for a long time. So I like some of what he does. I think he's good, actually. I think he's really good on air. But all I gotta say is, listen, Andy, there's some people that know certain things about you, so just be careful. Be careful.
Don't dox anybody, MHB.
No, of course not. I think that Judas Minahan had it coming. Don't you think?
Yes. No, what you were telling me, we were talking about that before the show. That was appropriately handled. That's a guy going after people, and you just said, "Hey, watch out." I think that's fair.
listen, Nathan, watch what you're doing, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Right? Yeah. So I didn't actually just said, listen, pump the brakes a little bit. Right? Papa Bear's got to come in and tell you what's what. Right? No. So Mayo was tweeting at you today saying, "Oh, look, Blind Mike, there's people with gene therapy. But
Yes.
He's the type of guy that needs the recognition.
I think he
needy,
means well.
but he's so needy.
He's a little needy.
He messaged me one day, and I responded back to him, and then he messaged me back, and I just never got back to him because I never check my DMs really. You know how it is being famous on Twitter. Anyway, so. And he decided, and he tweeted this at me, that he was going to message me every single day for 30 days. And I just let him fucking do it. At some point, he's telling me about his hemorrhoid cream. He's on a keto diet and shit like that.
He's kind of funny. I like Andy Mayo.
Yes,
he's a little needy in the sense of, so when you talk to him, that's the thing. Like having him on Mike and the Minifans, when you talk to him, he's fine. He's a perfectly nice guy. He just gets a little, like, if he feels he's been disrespected, then he's got to message you about it. Like I didn't promote that he was on. Like I said the other week, I said, yeah, I think Menners is on, and I forget who else. So he messaged me and is like, so am I not going to be on? And it's like, relax. I just forgot you. I forgot. It was in the moment. I'm sorry. Like, we'll get you. You're still on. Don't worry. Yes. So he just freaks out. I think he's a good guy, though. I like him.
Very needy, but a good guy.
Yes.
I think nonetheless. I still have never understood that. Here's the thing with him, though. It's like he's got to say, he's like, look at me. I disagree with Kirk. Like he loves the fucking contrarian shit. Like he loves. Like, nobody's gonna give you a blowjob because you're a contrarian. I'm sorry. Like,
no, that's needed sometimes.
Oh, the echo chamber. It's so funny how people start parroting different things. Like as soon as people start leaving the KMS world, that's the first thing they say is, "Oh, fuck those guys."
Yeah, groupthink. Yeah.
It's all groupthink. Oh, nobody thinks for themselves. Oh, too stupid. It's just fucking. That's not the case at all. But it depends on the person, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't disagree with Kirk.
No.
Sometimes it takes a man like my man Steve Robinson to tell Kirk a little bit what's what. Snippy snip, snip snip snip.
Yeah, look what happened.
The audio.
Look what happened. Drove him right to the loony bin.
Hey, you should have been suspended. You realize that, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you should have been suspended.
Yeah.
What would if I think about?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. I say, of course, just based on Steve being suspended. But the only thing is, I said this on the air to Kirk. I believe I was affected more by being in there and having to listen to them talk about me and play songs about me. Like I could have avoided the podcast for 3 days if I was out for 3 days. Yeah. I don't think I think I still would have listened, but in theory, I could have just, taken a break. Whereas having to be in there, I think there's something to be said for having to take the beating.
Yes, I think so, and that's why I'm kind of confused why. I would have preferred Steve in there the whole week, other than Carano. I know that he's a very brave man, that he overcame a fucking tummy ache, like fucking cancer, a tummy ache. And I think my thing with Carano is that he is a little bit like a gayer Matt Damon, is what I would say. And,
Kevin from Bristol called him Jason Schwartzman with polio.
Oh man, he's like a dirty pirate with that.
I like Carano. He's a very nice guy. He was fun to do shows with. My only gripe with Carano is that evidently when he sees paraplegics, he's like, all right, get up. Come on. You're not trying hard. Don't rest until you can stand.
What are you fucking doing? Resting?
Just yells at disabled people because
you can't walk? Oh, you're fucking lazy. I had a disability. I didn't rest until I got better by resting.
Disability. No, but Carano's a great guy, actually. Very nice.
Listen, my beef with Carano was that he wrote the MHB as a pussy song. So,
which was a great tune, I have to say.
It was a great tune, and I mean, I can't say that I've made it through that episode completely, still, but I'm working through it. I'm working my way back.
Well, listen, you're Bill Parcells, and he's Bill Belichick.
That was the beginning of the end.
It really was. Did that really? Because I assume in reality, we can say whatever we want for the show, but in reality, I assume there are deeper mental issues that you were going through, or was it really that Dave Portnoy and Steve Robinson combined to just ruin you?
That was, I think what it was happening is that I had the world of the show and I had the world of my real life, and I do sound psychotic saying it now, and it sounds crazy talking about it, but there was a time where it was getting very blurry. I felt like. So I was taking shit very seriously in the show because I had personal shit going on in my life, my career, job, things like that. Just a period of adjustment. It was, or transition, as I should say, to be PC. And yes, I am transitioning. No, I mean, the lines were blurred, and I was taking shit too seriously that was happening on the show. I was taking shit personally. Didn't realize that this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a show. We're just dicking around at the end of the day. Like, we're just busting balls.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, dude, I was just it all came to a head, and it was crazy. It was a wild time. I acted like an asshole, got kicked off the show message board, all that good stuff.
Are you back in there yet or no?
I am, yes. DEC added me back in. Yes.
Do you miss DEC?
Yeah, I mean,
do you miss doing that show, I guess I should say?
Well, I don't miss the schedule part of it because, I mean, like, I work long hours, so like I got to work at like 7:30 tonight, so it's tough. But I don't miss that part of it. But I do miss hanging out with DEC. I do miss talking about the show. But I think that I like what that show is doing now. I don't know if there's necessarily a need for the Minifan show of how it used to be.
Yeah, I feel there's no one. I mean, there are people. You guys could keep going at the Globe and Entercom and stuff like that, but there are the enemies aren't as prevalent, I guess. I think Kirk actually, you know what? I think Kirk might disagree with that statement, but I guess I'm just saying there's not at least right now, a Bob Murchison, a Shirley Leung, people that you're constantly questioning. It would almost be like rehashing old stuff, more or less. Yeah. And I did get a new job. I'm working for some rich guy named Robert out in Massachusetts. Oh, it's very nice.
A financial company.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I hope you're doing well.
I had to give over all my passwords to all my social media, which I thought was a little weird. So, but I mean, listen, you tweet me whatever you want. It's all good. I'm sure that. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, you're right. Things are less pronounced now. And the other thing is, there's no shortage of Kirk content. I mean, you have a million shows on the YouTube channel that are going to be talking about the stuff that we used to talk about on the Minifan show. So I think that, you know, what DEC and I did was, I feel very proud that we kind of started that. We carved a niche for that market, and you as well. I mean, you were right there with us you were on the first show, the first Minifan show.
Yeah.
And then I think about a lot of times too, is that one day, what if the roles were reversed? And what if you lived in Pennsylvania and I lived there? And what if that one day that I came in and Kirk said that I looked like a weightlifter that got halfway through his set and then just said fuck it.
It's very possible.
And I think about that often, and I don't know. I don't know if I would be, to be honest. I don't think I'd be handling it as well as you are. To be totally to not be bullshitting. Yeah.
I would say the only problem. I actually believe you're probably right. Like you might have been, because we were on the same show, and Kirk, when he was at radio.com, he said, like, listen to Trash Talk. Mike and MHB are doing a good job. There aren't a lot of young guys doing that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was probably us. And I think the only negative working against you there would be no, but I mean, like, if you were here, that you're too, you know, I don't want to be one of the assholes that says you imitate Kirk, but you do have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I mean,
your style.
Yes.
Whereas he can bully me around a lot more, I guess.
Yes.
I'm a weaker character.
I mean, you're also like a 1930s news broadcaster.
Yes.
You do this whole sort of, I don't even know. But sometimes it comes out, sometimes it's worse than others. When we're doing a show, when we're just talking like this, you're not doing it. But when you're in like host mode, like host mic mode, you get
hey there, Daddy-O.
Hey there, hey. Paper on the corner, sir. Step right up. I'm gonna perform a magic trick for you. I'm gonna make all the Minifans disappear. Like, it just, it doesn't work. You gotta just talk like this. I will say that when you're hosting Mike and the Minifans, I do think that you because you're dealing with people that are not good at talking.
A lot of times,
Who's been the worst? The racist guy that did the imitations, or did he not?
No. The worst was that you're referring to Joe Jarchezel.
Yes, Joe Jarchezel.
I believe the worst was Blind Advocate because he was bombed out of his mind.
Dude, that fucking guy is
I don't know if anyone could compare that to another person's performance. I'm sure no one has dealt with someone like that.
No.
Like, what kind of an asshole would show up on a podcast obliterated? I can't think of any examples.
I do take some responsibility that one night we were hanging out. I did say, you know what, Mike? You're better when you're drinking. You should do that more.
Did you? I don't even remember that, to be honest.
I do. I feel well because you were blacked out, of course. I mean, you were shit-faced. You were fucked up, my friend. So what do you want to talk about? Because we're doing trash talk. This is becoming like KMS Minifan show. Like, what?
I know. Do you want to start with your thoughts on? Do we want to keep talking about, or do we want to talk about other shit? I know you're a big politics guy now. Is that what I'm hearing?
I was, but that motherfucker. Another lie from Steve. That fucking asshole. That Russian spy stooge boy.
Tell me
said
about
that I was going to be his co-host. Said that we were going to do it last night. That last night was going to be the premiere episode. Then comes up with a lie because he's probably downloading state secrets and sifting them off to Mother Russia somewhere. He's, my CPU died on my computer. I can't actually do the episode tonight. Magically tonight, Steve Robinson, the DC sleuth, is in a suit, pressed, ready to go, and
all of a sudden
hosting a show with DEC. What the fuck is this?
Your arch rival.
I get bumped for DEC, that pervert, and Tim from Canton. Who is, I mean, he's great caller, but I mean, he's a big political guy. I get it. But I mean, don't get Tim going on, he's good in short doses is what I'd say about Tim. I have real thoughts on this. In fact, I mean, I think that this is a hot take. I think they're rigging this against Bernie. I did.
You don't say.
I do.
Get the hell out of here. You think so? Dude, now, how? So these are the questions I'm afraid to ask when I'm with Kirk and Steve, because they'll just be like, oh, what a moron. This guy knows. So right now, are they stealing it from Bernie because Biden won all those states? So are they? Is there still a way to steal from, or did Biden win fair and square?
So the delegate count is what's important, right? You have to get a certain threshold of the vote in order to get delegates. Otherwise, it's winner take all. So if you get a certain threshold, I think 25% you have to get over, or is it maybe it's 15? I think it's 15. Is that awards delegates? If you're under that, then you don't. So the wins that Bernie was getting are offset by the fact that Biden got enough to collect some delegates and split the delegates. Then you look at the fact that in certain areas it's the coalescence around Biden that's important, because look who dropped out all before Super Tuesday, right? We got Buttigieg. Did you know Buttigieg is gay, by the way, Mike?
I heard something about that.
Yes, and then
here he enjoys the company of a gentleman. Did you see the rumors?
Did you see? And before sidebar? I know I do this all the time.
Go ahead.
It fucking pisses me off the backlash that Jerry got because of that stupid tweet about Buttigieg kissing a man on stage. He's clearly joking, you fucking assholes. Like, it was remember the tweet? Did you get mad about it?
No, I mean, I knew he was joking, and then I listened. I guess Cullinane gave him shit because he said most of your followers don't know you're joking or don't know that happened or something like that. But it's like, who gives a shit? It's a joke is a joke.
I don't know. People were trying to cancel him, doing the same stupid tactics that we
cancel him from what?
Exactly.
A podcast with Dave Cullinane?
You can't people are saying, "Oh, Jerry,
it's been canceled."
Yeah, the fucking consultant. My God, he's gonna get mad at him. He's gonna get fired. The bad boy of radio, the consultant. No. So what were we talking about? Where did we get from?
The election?
The election, yeah. So the delegate counts, and you had Buttigieg drop out. You had Klobuchar drop out. You got everybody going around Biden. You got important figures in the DNC. They're all looking towards Biden because they know that Bernie, they must really fucking hate Bernie. You got Beto O'Rourke endorsing Biden. They really hate Bernie. And the other thing too, I think that they're encouraging Liz to stay in, because who's going to split the progressive vote? The people that would most likely side ideologically with Bernie, like Liz, right? And they're splitting that.
I said this the other day, but doesn't it kind of prove that Trump isn't all that bad if you can have a guy like Bernie where they're afraid, they're like, oh, well, he'll never win the election. So it's like, I don't remember, this is the example I used the other day, but I don't remember anyone going up against Adolf Hitler and them saying like, well, this man will clearly never win. I understand it was a little different, but what I'm saying is clearly Donald Trump, can we all back off the Trump is a dictator type shit? Because if Trump were that bad, then even a guy like Bernie would be better, right?
Well, but Bernie is a communist. And the other thing about Bernie is that he's not electable. Why do you think Trump loves to play the line that the DNC is rigging it against Bernie? Because he wants to run against Bernie.
Of course.
At the end of the day, America will not vote for a socialist.
No, but But he'll have an easier time with Biden because he's going to destroy. At least Bernie would fight back a little bit. Trump's going to destroy Biden if they debate.
I don't know. People say, like, I think that Biden is going to give him a run for his money. I really think that of the two, I think Biden is more. Why do you think Trump ordered them to spy on Biden or tried to order an investigation into Biden? The thing that they tried, about the interference with his son, with Hunter, who's sleeping with hookers and snorting cocaine and all that bullshit. I sound like Jerry Callahan. It's tough to talk politics and make this interesting. I feel like this is very important.
Hey, I hear you. Anyway, but I just think Trump is so good at any time Biden stutters, or that's the thing Trump will do that none of those Democrats will do. Anytime Biden stutters or makes a gaffe or whatever, Trump is going to destroy him.
And we're just getting into the peak of his creepy history. Like, I think there's going to be more to come, more stories. I'm sure that the Trump team has people ready and waiting to come out of the woodwork saying, in 1992, he came up behind me and hugged me from behind, and he fondled my bosom.
Sure.
Like that sort of stuff. It's going to happen, and it's going to be ugly. But I think they're neck and neck now in the delegates, but it's a two-man race clearly. And the fact that Liz hasn't backed out by now, maybe she has. I haven't been on Twitter. But the fact that she hasn't backed out is really, DNC's pushing her to stay in because they're going to split the liberal vote, the progressive vote.
Yeah, I did see some. He was like a Yale professor. I wasn't familiar with him, but he tweeted out, "This is such a clear example of misogyny, the way Liz Warren has been treated this election."
Yes, the misogyny of an.
It's like why isn't it misogyny when Mayor Pete drops out, or like when it's stolen from Bernie, or when Yang gets destroyed, when Yang doesn't get a chance to debate in half these fucking things? Why isn't that?
Well, I mean, Mike, misogyny is hating women. I don't think Pete and Yang are women.
That's my point. Is that when other people fall out of the race, why isn't that sexist?
Because sexist against men? Now I'm confused. What are you saying?
My point is,
what misogyny means?
Yes, that's my entire point, you jackass. My point is that when it happens to a man,
varsity quarterback Mike coming out here.
When it happens to a man, why isn't the same standard put on it? Is what I'm trying to say.
Kirk would have passed on the same thing too if that was a thing. You're trying to say that it's misogynist. It's first of all, when it's against a man, it's misandrist. Misandrist is what.
How do you not understand what I'm trying to say here? I'm saying. Why when it happens to Liz Warren, it's misogyny, but when it happens to someone else, it's not. When it happens to a man, there's nothing wrong with it.
Because I think there's a double standard and we have to embrace it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think that. I
don't think we have to embrace it. I think we should call it out.
Women and men are treated differently, and I think that's okay. I think that if a woman hits a man, she's not going to jail. That's just a double standard you have to live with. If a guy hits a girl, it's a standard that you have to, like, for instance. You see the headlines about, a girl that beats up a guy, like a husband that gets, what was it?
Amber Heard.
Yeah, right. I mean, and you laugh that guy out of town. But if it's reversed, I mean, it's a double standard, yes, but that's just the way the world works. Do you agree? No?
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. Did you see? I don't know if this is new, but I think maybe they were trying to trot it back out, or maybe there are new allegations or something. But the stuff against James Franco coming out now?
I haven't. Catch me up on it. What's going on with this?
He has another. So he had some stuff years ago, and then there's another report that I heard today. Maybe it's old stuff that they're dragging back up, but I hadn't heard before about his. He had some acting class, and now women are accusing him of being inappropriate in that acting class, like saying that he, essentially, he had them do like sex scenes.
What?
And now they're like. In the acting class, they had like one of the scenes they had to do was like a sex scene or a makeout scene or something like that. And now they're saying that was inappropriate, I guess.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, so
there's stuff like that where at a certain point you got to say like, maybe he was probably being a creep. He was probably being a weirdo, but it's also like, I don't know, you were in the class and you could at the time say like, this is not what I paid for. What the fuck are you doing? Instead of going through the class and then years later saying, I took this class with him and he was inappropriate. It just seems odd to me that everything we have to say, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they felt pressure not to say anything. It's like, I don't know. I'm a man, I guess, technically, but I'm not a particularly strong figure. Yet, if I were in that class, I would say, like, hey, this is fucking weird, and I would get up and leave.
I mean, I think the other thing is, like, what kind of sex scene? Like, is he asking them to strip down naked? Is he actually having them perform the act? Or is it just, like, we're gonna just make out or something like that.
Yeah, see, I don't know. It was phrased oddly, where I think I could see where it would have been uncomfortable, probably, and he was probably doing it to try and hook up with women. Like that wouldn't shock me, but it's also I don't know. I have a weird thing where if something's a sitcom staple for 30 years, where in every fucking sitcom there's a guy who takes an acting class to hook up with women because he's the only man in there. It's like, I don't know, is that the weirdest fucking thing? It is creepy for sure, and we should call it out now, but do we have to go back in time to do it? All right. Well, I was on some rant about James Franco. That'll certainly get me canceled. So it's probably a good thing our internet dropped out. I do have to say, it's only when intern Justin isn't around that you realize he kind of knows what he's doing somewhat.
Competent?
Like,
yes, I think
yeah,
so.
sure, a bit incompetent, but better than others. No offense, nameless producer.
I love Hair Intern. He is my guy. He loves me. He loves me some MHB.
Which one does?
Hair Intern.
Oh well, hey, well, you're the only one that loves him.
Big Will guy. No, Will all the way. Will.
Will on that Mincel Intel show, man, is just infuriating. I don't know why he's there. He just bugs me. Because
he's a big swinging dick. He thinks that he knows. Like he thinks he's the ruler of the roost. He's the
He's got inside info. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guys, did you know that the show is actually not live to tape? they actually record it and then post it later. Sometimes Whoa! Did you know that Blind Mike actually is not blind at all? He actually drives a Hyundai.
That is true, actually. Yeah,
that is true. Best kept secret of the show is that Mike is not actually a blind man whatsoever.
No, come on.
Did you? So a couple other things that we need to talk about.
Go ahead.
So the Albright thing. Did you think did you do anything different with that stuff? Like, did you think I really acted like a pussy with that, or did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So great. You did.
No, I can understand why you get protective. Like, I don't want to lose my job. But as I told you a million times, you've never said anything. I get that it's weird when your boss is like, "Hey, what does Mark Hannon's balls mean?" Or what is this tweet? I get why that's weird. But you have said nothing that I can think of that would be a fireable offense. So yes. I understand having an uncomfortable conversation with your boss kind of sucks, but I thought you got too nervous about it.
Yes, I think so. I think so. I mean, it was a weird conversation, but I mean, it worked out for the best at the end. I think that everybody turned out happier than they were before.
Like they're never going to fire you because like you had an argument with John Ziegler once over, you know what I mean? Like I just don't think there was anything that you
would get fired. Those shows, man. I forgot. Those were great.
Those are the best. The first couple of months of the Minifan show was awesome.
Oh, it was great. I remember that time. Remember when we uncovered the old the sound of Toucher and Rich, and they were with the drunk women, and you hated it.
We had an argument about that, yeah.
Yes, we did. That was a good show, man.
Yeah.
Wow, look at us, like two old men reminiscing about it. Now
I like that. That's the great thing about the world Kirk has built is that so much happens every day that we look at. You and I only started podcasting a year ago together,
yes. and
now we look back like, remember when?
I mean, dude, I remember when we started doing Trash Talk on YouTube, live streaming to 4 people: TJ Hubbard, Steve from Providence, DEC, and then I don't even know who else. Maybe, who the fuck knows? Whatever is Ned Snark, right? Those were the 4, the OGs. And now, I mean, it's the whole YouTube show. Contrary to what some folks believe, it's blown up. It's pretty cool. It's cool to see the community of people that are new to the show too.
Yeah.
Because I mean. You remember when with the Enough About Me days, it was you, me tweeting out 617 report, and that was it. Yeah. Nobody would promote it. It was just a small group of people that were circled around this that believed in the talent. And yeah, I mean, I know that it's sad that it'll never come back. I really think it is. You know, very sad. I mean, I'm sure you must be upset that you're never going to have it.
That the show's never going to come back. Yeah, it's rough, but what are you going to do? You know?
Was I not supposed to say that?
Shh. It's a big
secret.
I do want to know if you have any particular thoughts about Kirk that haven't been said already, but I found it interesting. The Kirk thing kind of got me thinking. I meant to bring this up to Kirk on the show, but I never got a chance. Artie Lang, who was on the Kirk Minahan show, and he was great. And he started his own podcast, which I think was really good. And I listened to it, and it was coming out a couple times a week. And then it didn't.
As is the way with podcasts.
It didn't come out for 1 week, and then it didn't come out for another week, and then it didn't come out for a third week. And with a guy like Artie, you start to think, what the fuck is happening? And he canceled a couple shows. And it's like when you see a guy like that, it's like I worry about him. I'm like, I hope he's all right. Like, I haven't heard anything that he's, he fell off the wagon or anything like that, but I don't know what to make of it. He tweeted out that the show is coming back soon, but it's like, especially a guy like Artie, you don't just take a hiatus without announcing it.
Yeah.
For a month.
Well, that's what I think scares me about his show too, is that when he goes silent that something's up, like he's using again, and it's totally different for Kirk to compare that. I mean, I get what you're getting.
Yeah, no, it's totally different. It just popped into my mind because of Kirk a little bit, but
yes, I mean, in this case, I mean, the only comparison you could draw is that they're both uniquely talented individuals that are both uniquely disturbed in their own ways.
Sure.
Right. And the only thing I would add to the whole Kirk discussion is that you never, and I think I texted Kirk this, is like, I get that you never truly get better, but the only thing you can do is keep fighting it. Right. And that's the reality. Because if you go in thinking that, and I'm not saying Kirk thought this or he didn't think it, but if you go in thinking that, well, maybe if I'm more freer, maybe if I have less restrictions, maybe if I can do what I want, maybe if I can build my own thing, there's no rules, then maybe it will change, or maybe it will change my issues. I'm not saying Kirk thought that, but that just, it's deeper than that. I think you know that too, is that these things are, like, mental health is complex, and there's no easy answer for this stuff, and it sucks, and it's scary, and it takes a lot of balls to admit it. And that's why I give Kirk a lot of props. Like, he didn't have to come, he doesn't have to do his thing Monday, and he's going to come out and he's going to put something on, the RSS feed Monday. Yep. He didn't have to issue a statement. He didn't, and that's the other, like, you guys, I think I asked you this before, but just so everyone knows, you didn't know, right, when he came back to do that haircut, because like, I could feel it, and maybe it's because I listened to that part after it happened because I was behind. But when I listened to it, it almost, like, I almost got choked up.
Yeah, in hindsight, for sure. When people pointed that out to me, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, yeah, it kind of got to me a little. Steve,
it was sad. You could tell he didn't want to leave. Like, he knew it's gonna be the last time for a while, and like, I just want to come back and do this stupid show.
Well, I even made a joke when Steve said that he has $100 haircut membership or whatever the fuck he said.
Yes.
At that moment, I said, and I don't know if it translates because it's audio only, so you don't see what I'm doing. But like, when Kirk came back, he goes, "I just want to pop on for a second." So I thought he was going to say, 2 sentences and leave. So I was just on the edge of my chair and swung the mic towards me. And then when Steve said, "Yeah, I'm a member of this haircut place," I leaned back in my chair and adjusted the microphone, and I go, "I'm going to settle in here," because I knew that was going to lead to another 10, 50, whatever it was.
Yes.
So I did not know. I know Steve in the Discord or Reddit, the Reddit AMA, whatever it was. I think he said that he knew or could feel it or something. I don't know if that's with the benefit of hindsight.
That's what Steve told me. Again, who knows if it's the hindsight, but I think that Steve is the one that's probably hitting the hardest. I feel like you're handling this well. You're doing well. You're good.
Oh, yeah.
You're happy as you've ever been, right?
Oh, it's great. I can just do a show by myself. No.
I can take your calls. Gary takes your calls.
I'm still in the mindset that Kirk will be back in a couple weeks.
We all hope Kirk will be back soon.
Yeah, and I think Steve is more in the mindset, and neither of us are right or wrong. We don't. Neither of us have any fucking idea. But I think Steve might be more in the mindset of like, what if he doesn't come back? And both are kind of natural reactions, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I for whatever reason, I'm not worried about it. Whatever other time in my life I would have been panicking. I feel like everything's going to be fine. Hopefully that's the case for Kirk. And that's the other thing. Everyone, people are worried about the Wilbur and the podcast, and I understand all that. I wonder if it would even be good for Kirk to take a break or maybe a permanent break from the show. I don't know. I have no idea. Well, whatever is best for him is the thing he should do, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think Steve is looking out. I think Steve really cares about the show, but I also think that he's only been in the show for 8 months. He's only really worked with Kirk for 8 months. He hasn't been for years. We've seen Kirk, and we understand how there's ups and downs with this stuff. And I think, and also Steve doesn't struggle with mental illness and stuff like that. Steve doesn't struggle with that sort of anxiety. And
no,
I feel like he seems like a pretty stable, robotic. I guess Eastern European gentleman.
Yeah, as much as I said this once, and Kirk joked, like, really, you think so? But I do believe, like, of the three of us, Steve is certainly the most stable, seemingly, mentally, and he seems, like a regular guy.
There's darkness there.
There's certainly. I mean, let's not. I don't mean to.
The man doesn't believe in murder. Okay,
no, there's certainly some darkness there, but I mean, he seems like the common man, I guess. Like, he's just, he enjoys his work. He enjoys his politics. He enjoys his red snappers. You know what I mean?
Which is good. So when he thinks, when I think that he views this as, oh shit, this is it. This is the end. It's not, I don't think he understands that, that sometimes it's like sometimes you need time, you need to step away, and you need to get in the right headspace. And I mean, could you sense that the show was starting to, did you think that could you sense anything, like any sort of thing that was going on, any sort of change? Because Steve was like, I could sense something was off for a couple of weeks. Did you feel that at all?
I'll tell you, I thought things were off for a couple of weeks, but I thought it was me. Because of the stuff in Madawaska and everything, I felt, and maybe I'm still right, that, you know what I mean? Just because I could be right that it was my fault, but I got the sense like I was off, like I wasn't fitting into the show or something. Yeah. Like I kept having that feeling. Yeah. So again, that could have easily been the case. Maybe what I was feeling was right, but I did feel off, but I never attributed it to Kirk not being okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say Steve had the presence of mind to really roast me on the little episode we did today. It's up right now, so we can actually talk about it if you're listening.
It is right now? It's on the YouTube or on the
RSS feed.
Is it really? When the fuck did it go up?
Well, 6 hours ago, as people are listening to this. It's not up right now. I'm saying it will be by the time people are listening.
I was gonna say.
So Steve, no matter how he was feeling, had the presence of mind. This is where he is a very talented broadcaster. Had the presence of mind to bring up the text message I sent that I'm sure I'm getting roasted for on Twitter right now. So Kirk texts us at 7 a.m, which I've mentioned a few times. Steve replies very nicely and says, "Anything you need, we're here for you. Get yourself well," all that. Very nice.
Okay.
I didn't know what to say. That I wasn't going to get made fun of for or piss Kirk off or whatever. So I kept it brief. And tell me if you think this is inappropriate to a message that says, "I'm suicidal and I'm taking a break for a while." I replied, "Good luck. Take care. Hope all is well."
What the fuck is that?
Now, granted, we've been talking a lot about hindsight. I can see that it was inappropriate now.
Mike, my wife just broke up with me. We're getting a divorce.
Take care, friend.
Take care, friend. Good luck.
Have a good one.
All is well with you.
All right.
Good
Cheer up.
What are you so doom and gloom about?
Hey, keep your chin up, buckaroo.
Hey, buck up and fly right, my friend. It's okay. Listen, it's just a little suicide, not a big deal. It's okay.
But then I think I did something worse.
Take care.
No, hold on. You'll hate this more. I mentioned it to my girlfriend.
Okay.
And I didn't think anything of it at the time, and she goes, "That's a little what's the phrase she used?
Callous, heartless.
Heartless. That's kind of heartless." And I said, "Really? I didn't mean it. I just thought he wouldn't want to hear from me." So then I said, "Well, Let's give him the old true feelings then. And then that's when I probably made it worse. Where I sent a text and I said,
I just want you to know, Kirk, I love you and I care about you.
I did say, I said, I just want you to know how much I appreciate how much I appreciate everything you've done for me, particularly over the last year. I hate to think that my actions over the last month contributed in any way to how you're feeling.
Oh my gosh,
I just want you to know.
What the fuck is wrong with? What are you doing?
That I hope you take the time you need, and I
just really hope it's not my fault, Kirk.
So,
typical Mike.
I hope that gave him. What I hope is that they gave him some joy and hope to get back to the podcast, just to trash me for that. I guess. Hopefully, that's what's taken out of that.
Okay, so here's the thing that Kirk is going to do beyond the insanity of that story.
Yes.
He's going to come back and he's going to say, "What did you do for 6 weeks?"
I'm doing shows, baby.
What did you do? You took calls from the Minifans?
Oh, come on. No, I did shows with MHB and Turtle Boy.
You did shows with Turtle Boy. Well, is Turtle Boy back in the good graces now?
I don't know. I'm having him on, though, I think.
On what? On Trash Talk?
On whatever the fuck we call it. I don't know.
What the Mike and the Minifans?
Something. I was just gonna have kind of a one-on-one with him.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm just trying to do anything. I've got a Life of the Parody scheduled. I'm sure you'll love that.
I will love that. What are we going to deep dive into? Whose parody account are we going to dive into now?
Prank calls. The world of prank calls.
I think. Do you think that we should start doing something in preparation for Kirk to come back, though? Like something that would make him happy. That a mission for the Minifans. I think I'm going to rally the troops. I think we should put out a call. There should be a mission for the Minifans, like akin to obviously the pitches, and those are still coming in, I'm assuming. But there needs to be something that tangible that we can do.
Well, I'll tell you what I've been doing is I've ruined Julie DeCaro's show as if it could be ruined anymore.
Can we talk about her for a second?
She doesn't take calls anymore.
That humorless fuck. Oh
yeah.
I'm sorry. I struggle with mental illness. You idiot. What did you? Why?
She said no one gave me any accommodation for my my depression or something like that.
Look at me. She's yeah. You know what we call that? Where we come from? A geary, making it about
right.
That's right. It is. No, I'm kidding. But dude, she is. She tried to make the entire thing about her, and I think there's no worse type of person that's gonna kick someone while they're down. Look, even Callahan, of the shit that Kirk has given him, was classy enough to say something nice about Kirk at the end of his podcast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. Oh, wait, what is that? You have mixed feelings about that?
What do you mean?
I could just sense that you look like you disagree with my take on Callahan.
No, not at all.
Oh, do you think you should have gone harder?
I thought it was weird that he waited till the end of the podcast rather than the beginning, when everyone that listens to that show listens to Kirk's show and is a fan of Kirk. So I thought he should have done it at the beginning, but I mean that's just a matter of taste. Like I don't even think that really. I don't think he was doing it out of any malice. I think he just ended up bringing it up when he did.
So you think he's a backstabber? You think he's
yes, he's a real piece of. No, I have no problem with Jerry. I've
you love to fuck
Jerry. I've taken issue. Yes, I've said that many times. I've taken issue with certain things he said, and I disagree with him on certain things. Yeah. But no, he's been fine to me. I have no beef with him.
Okay, that's good. All right, that makes sense. I mean, listen, I just did sense that there's a little. I know that you and I got into it because I thought that you were trying to fabricate some sort of beef with Callahan.
You did,
back.
Yeah.
Yes,
which I don't know. No, that genuinely annoyed me at the time. Now where you were right is. 3 days later, I didn't even think about it.
Yes, that's.
But at the time, I was mad about it. You know what I mean?
It was fun. Yeah, you were mad. Yeah. We all get like that. The whole Julie DeCaro thing, I think, is worse though because then that.
Oh, of course. It's like
the chick that did the HBO the documentary. What was her name? She interviewed the Barstool people. She had the Barstool documentary.
Fuck! I know who you're talking about.
Tran, something Kelly, something Tran.
No. Shit.
This is the part where we just
we just think of names.
Throw it out. Kimberly.
Sure. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah, sure. Yes. No, you have people retweeting it and people that are trying. And then there was somebody else too. Somebody else came out against Kirk. Scott Van Pelt, who, listen, nice gesture, but I got to take issue. The fact that he still remembers that it all started when Kirk said something about him and people went after him, and he's got to start his sympathy with that.
Yeah.
Pisses me the fuck off. These people, these media types are so thin-skinned that something years ago, Kirk is suicidal.
Yeah.
And years ago, Kirk said something about Van Pelt, and he got some mean tweets from it. And that's the first line that he's got to say. Well, Kirk, years ago you sicked your crazy fans on me, but I really want you to get help. It's okay.
Yeah.
I want you to feel better. Fuck you. I fucking hate that, people. Fucking go. I hope that you're the next Me Too victim.
Well, what I really hate about it is I don't remember if Van Pelt responded at the time, like way back when, but Julie DeCaro has never said anything about. She blocked him and never said anything about Kirk. So it's kind of, I don't have a lot of enemies, so this might not be a perfect comparison. Yes. But like the only real person I hate, I guess Pete Abraham and Joe Zarbano are the two people I hate. It would be like if I never shit on Zarbano, never mentioned his name, never talked about him or anything, and then, one day he's in a horrible accident, and I choose that day to say, by the way, Zarbano was a real ass. I hope he gets well, but he was a real hunk of shit.
He's a real piece of shit. No, you're right. And what is the genesis of the beef with DeCaro? Is it just because you prank phone called her fucking shit show?
I think so. Do you remember that ESPN thing? It was Sarah Spain and Julie DeCaro.
Yeah. Oh, when she says,
"Oh wow."
Okay. Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Oh okay.
Which is the most staged bullshit.
Oh, of course.
I hate this whole idea that mean tweets are harassment. I hate that. Because you're a woman, because you have a vagina, like as if men can't get mean tweets. It's the same. The type of vile shit that I would get tweeted at me, that you could get tweeted at you, that Kirk gets tweeted at him. Are you kidding me, Julie DeCaro? You're acting like that is harassment because you're a woman?
No, and they have actors read them and are like, I can't even go on here. It's like, well, that's your job. Your job is to read these questions here, or these tweets.
We literally hired you as an actor to come in and pretend to be these assholes online, saying that I hope you get killed again, or I hope you get murdered in an alley or something.
Right.
She is upset about the fact that she did a stupid segment on ESPN. Yep. Kirk and Jerry rightfully poked fun at it. She got some backlash from it, and it shows how thin-skinned these people are. And then you call her show. And does she think that was you? Or?
So she said he sicked his goons on me and then high-fived them about it, which I can assure you Kirk has never high-fived me over anything. That's an image I can't even imagine. No, but in the prank call was not even – I mean, you can go back and listen to it. I think the references I made were Pardon My Take and Big Cat because she hates Big Cat. Which is another red flag, by the way. If a Big Cat is your enemy, then you're a real hunk of shit.
Exactly. I was gonna say, how can anybody hate Big Cat? He's
right.
Like the most lovable guy in the world.
Just a friendly, yeah. So, and then I think I dropped all the generic references. Like there was no malice in the call. In fact, it was about a topic that if I had a real call, I would have gone harder at her on. It was about when the Astros GM got fired for saying something to a reporter.
Yes.
So we would have had a real debate about, but I didn't even do that. And that's her version of harassment, I guess.
I hear she pays attention to the text line too, right?
Oh yeah. So that would be the. She may not be taking calls because none went through last night. We'll see tonight. But yeah, she pays a lot. I hear Dale Arnold-esque on that text line.
I know. Well, the Minute fans are one thing. They are vigilant, and they are going to be listening. So I would encourage you to listen, and I would encourage you to call, be respectful, let her know that, you politely disagree with her in the most polite way possible. That's right? We want to be respectful.
Yeah.
That's
of course.
The one thing.
Be respectful.
I think
don't give her an excuse to shit on the Minute fans. All right. We've been going for a long time. I don't know how much of it will actually be in the show, but we've been talking for a long time.
I mean, I don't know. It says we're 20 minutes in.
We're 20 minutes into this half.
Oh, we did this as a second half. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you want to wrap here? I mean, what do you want? I always have it.
Well, here I thought we could wrap on this. I did think of it to bring back an old trash talk segment.
How much too?
I thought of it. How much too?
Okay, go.
And we've been traveling a lot with the Minifans between Madawaska. I was in Miami with Justin and all that. So I thought,
hell on earth being in a room with that guy.
You know what? Justin might even be a better one. I was going to say TJ Hubbard, but why drag TJ Hubbard's good name through the mud?
I love
How much too Share a twin bed for a year with intern Justin.
Well, first of all, I'd never be cold because I'd be pulling on body hair off of me for an entire year straight. I'd have like a fucking whole coat off of that.
Yeah. He's a sound sleeper, I can tell you.
He looks like he snores, though, doesn't he?
No, he does not.
Okay. To be fair, I've never paid attention to him long enough to know what he looks like. But
he's a big fella.
Yeah, big fella, nice fella. Okay. Is he a gentle? Is he a spooner? Does he spoon you?
He is not with me, but again, we have not been in a twin bed together.
That's right. Well, but you've shared a bed many a times.
Sure.
Right? Okay. How much too for a year?
Yeah.
Not weekends off. Every day.
No.
Every day.
Yeah. And if you travel, you got to bring them with you, and you got to sleep in the. You have to make sure it's a twin. There's accommodation. Here, me as the arbiter here, I would make sure there is a twin. You wouldn't have to worry about that. I would get the twin bed wherever you are.
Girlfriend comes with me too.
She can. I mean, all three are gonna have to squeeze in that bed if you want to.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking at. I mean, at least you got to pay me at least $1 million.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it for less. I would not do it for less. That's hell. To sleep in a twin bed with another grown man for a year straight is one of the definitions of hell. What could be worse than that? How much would you? What about you? How much for you?
I got to go a lot less. We've been bunkmates before.
Justin doesn't like me. He came at me that one time.
I told you. I told you. I'll set him straight. I've been mentoring the boy for a few months now.
Well,
you know?
there's another Minifan that also was that has a little bit of Julie DeCaro in it that likes to kick Minifans while they're down too. But Who's
that? You don't want?
I was just saying that he made, he's softly affiliated with the Discord. I don't think Kirk has ever met him, but he's affiliated with the Discord, is what I would say. Kirk's never met him actually, though. Likes to kick people when they're down.
I think with Justin, I would go $500,000.
$500,000?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay.
We would just not face each other. I think we'd come to an agreement.
So you go back to back.
Yeah. Okay. Back to back. I think.
Oof. Back to back. Because the idea was
I sleep on my side, so.
Is he gonna have like wet farts all night too, and like
well, we'd have to find out. These are unknowable, unknowable details.
My God! All right. So I got a good one.
Go for it.
How much to quit the show?
Jesus. See, the thing is, it's not just that I like the show. It's like this is the show I've wanted to be on. Like there were years where, I bring up Opie and Anthony all the time as that's the type of show I liked. But there was a point where I was getting into podcasting and everything, and I was like, "There's not a show
like that,
where it's a hang, it's guys busting balls. You kind of create a world around the show that didn't really exist. Kirk created it, and now I'm a part of it. So it's
no amount. No amount of money.
I don't know if there's an amount. I mean, $1 billion. If you put $1 billion in front of me, I'm sure I would probably take it. But realistically, I don't think there's an amount that I would take.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right, buddy.
It's not the answer I was looking for.
It's always good to end on a hilarious note.
What I'm talking about a letdown. Oh my God. Well, the triumphant return, MHB. Here he is.
You want to do this again at some point?
Absolutely. Let's do it again. Do the same time
All right,
next
brother.
week. Yeah,
we'll do it, and maybe we'll get a full stream in the next time where it's not interrupted.
Let's
now we know what we're doing here.
I know. Well, I mean, listen, I'm working on shitty public internet here, so
I understand. It's not your fault.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, thanks.
All right, man.
Mike,
this was fun.
This felt like an old episode of Trash Talk.
It certainly did. See you next time here on Trash Talk.
Peace out, Cub Scout.